Hi everyone, it's James here from Pro Tools Expert. Now, as you can probably tell, I haven't really got my voice back fully after NAMM yet, but it's not going to stop me doing a gear review. You can see here I'm talking into this rather lovely Sontronic Saturn mic, but it's not the mic I'll be reviewing this time. It's actually what it's connected to, and I've got it hooked up to a Focusrite Liquid Channel. Now, this piece of kit's been around for a little while, but I thought I'd show you how to get some of the sounds of those more sought after mic pre's, compressor limiters and EQs. So let's have a look at the Focusrite Liquid Channel. So first up, we're looking over at the left hand side of the unit, and you can probably see that the LED level meter is jumping up and down as I'm talking to you. And next to that, we also have the gain control. Now, this is a pretty sensitive mic, so I'm not going to crank the gain too far. Under that, we have the phantom power switch, phase invert, and bass roll-off. But above it, we have the input selector. Now, obviously, we can come in from a microphone like we are now. We can come in from a line, a digital source, either AES EBU or SPDIF. Then next to that, we have a very useful feature called the Session Saver. Now, the Session Saver is basically a brick wall limiter. It will not let the signal go any higher than 0 dB, hence saving you from any awful clips or digital distortion caused by going above 0 dB. Below that, we have settings for clocking and sample rate. And you'll see here that I'm clocked at 48K using the AES connection as my clock source. It's worth noting that I'm using the AES outs, the digital outs, going straight into my 1616. I'm not using any other A to D conversion, so everything that you're hearing is coming straight from the Liquid Channel and straight into Pro Tools and then obviously into the camera. Next to the input and clocking section, we have the main controls for the compression and limiting section of the Liquid Channel. Now, we have normal controls for threshold, ratio, attack, release, and makeup gain. But we also have this nice little control called harmonics, which is basically a nice way to add a kind of valve warmth and crunchiness into the compression circuit, often giving that more vintagey, more kind of oldie world sound, which some people like, some people don't. Again, it works in some music, it doesn't in others. Next to the compression and limiting section, we have the EQ section. Now, this is a 3-band EQ circuit, loosely based, Focusrite say, on their ISA circuit. But actually, I'm finding it really useful, and it's very, very cool to be able to roll off quite a lot at the bottom end to not get any plosives through the mic, but still have a very natural sound. So the EQ circuit is really, really cool. There's also an option here to be able to listen in to a particular frequency as you're adjusting it, so you can actually get a really accurate setting on the EQ. And next to that, on the far right of the unit, we have the compression and EQ settings, where we can bypass, compare, or revert to an original setting. We also have the data area, where you can save and recall different presets, either that you've saved yourself or from the preset memory. And this is also where we have the main data wheel, where you select all your presets. So what we're going to do now is just run through some of the presets. Now, Focusrite, of course, have named their presets. However, what you can do is if you go online to their site, you can see a list of all the presets available in the device by default and what they are supposed to represent in a kind of real world setting. So all I'm going to do now is hit preamp select, and we'll scroll through some of the presets and we'll go through some of the more differing ones. So it does take a little while to load some of those presets in, but you know, once you've got it set for a vocal session, you're pretty much there. So this one's called the Gov, a British modern solid state style pre. Sounds pretty good, sounds great in the headphones. So this one's a US model hybrid. Again, you can hear exactly how it's changing the tone, exactly what's happening on the front panel. This one's a US Classic Discrete, and you can again really hear how it's changing the tone going through into the camera or into my headphones. Again, depending on the singer, the microphone, and the style of music you're working with, it may or may not work. But let's just go through some more of these presets and see how they sound. So US Modern Tube this time, you can hear it's a lot more up front, and there's a lot more of that kind of mid, almost nasally kind of tone coming through, very distinct of the sort of valve sound. I'm not entirely sure what some of these names mean, like bird brain, but again, sounds great. It's coming through to my headphones nice and clear, really changing the tone. So, Brit Classic Tube. Again, it's going to depend on the vocalist, on the style of music, on the microphone you're using, but I think all these are very, very usable sounding preamps. Now, Focusrite say this is not a modelling unit. They use a two-stage convolution approach to exactly mimic the input, through, and output stages of the mic pre's and the compressor limiters. So let's choose another one. Now this is a simulation of that classic Focusrite Blue ISA sound, and although I haven't done a direct comparison with one of my ISA preamps, it sounds fantastic. It's just that natural, really nice open Focusrite sound, reminiscent of the classic Forte console. Now the Red 1 is a unit that Focusrite have just brought out in the 500 series modules, and I'll hopefully be getting one of those to review fairly soon. But again, completely different sounding preamp. I really liked the Red series, although at the time they were a little out of my budget. Now, the Focusrite Green Channel strip is one of those things that you don't see on eBay that often, and there's a really good reason for that. Those people who got hold of those green channel strips from the kind of early 90s kept hold of them because they really do sound great. Very, very useful and a very, very cost-effective unit. So having the green channel strip in the Liquid Channel is a really useful asset. So the US Boutique tube, and again you can hear there's that really nice warm sort of valve saturation going on. If I crank the harmonics up, you can hear exactly how that affects the tone. So let's hit it hard, and you can hear that's really cutting in. It's not nasty, it's just a kind of almost semi-overdriven sound. Now for some sort of jazz vocal or lighter music vocal, that's going to sound fantastic. So a kind of new age US modern hybrid. It's a very sharp, very accurate sounding pre. Quite a lot of top end on the EQ, but again, sounds really, really good and amazing. Would be kind of that rock vocal sound. I think sort of, if I was using a dynamic or something like a Shure SM7, I could definitely drive it really hard to get that big kind of Metallica style vocal sound. Well, I hope you enjoyed that look at the Focusrite Liquid Channel. Check it out if you get the chance, and I hope to see you for another gear review very soon.